We were already shouting when the elders walked in. Kenneth's fist slammed the table so hard the cups jumped. Cynthia was crying in the corner. Eric stood by the window, silent and angry. Michael kept saying, "This is madness," over and over. Rita covered her face with her hands. Amanda crossed her arms, watching everyone like a hawk. I stood near the door, the youngest, watching my brothers and sisters tear each other apart. The elders raised their hands for silence. "Children, your father just died. Show respect." But nobody was listening. We were fighting over land, over houses, over money. Things our father left behind. Kenneth pointed at Michael. "You forged those papers." "I know you did." Michael's face went red. "How dare you accuse me?" The room exploded again. I felt something bad was coming. Something terrible. Then Cynthia screamed, "Someone here is lying, and I will prove it." If you're watching this video, please like, subscribe to this channel, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I remember the last time I saw my father alive. He sat under the mango tree, looking tired and old. I brought him water. He drank slowly, then looked at me with sad eyes. "My child," he said quietly. "This house, this land, it carries something heavy." I asked him what he meant. He shook his head. "Just remember to stay together. Promise me." I promised, but I didn't understand. He wanted to say more. I could see it in his face. His mouth opened, then closed. He coughed. "When I'm gone," he started. But my mother called him inside for his medicine. He never finished that sentence. 2 weeks later, he died in his sleep. No warning. No goodbye. And no will. He left us everything, but he left us no instructions. No guidance. Just property and silence. Now we were fighting like enemies. I wished he had spoken that day. I wished he had told us what he meant. The burial was big. The whole village came. My father was respected, so people wore their best clothes and brought gifts. My siblings stood together at the grave, dressed in black. From far away, we looked like a united family. But I saw the truth. Kenneth whispered something to Eric, and Eric turned away angrily. Cynthia smiled at the guests, but her eyes were cold. Amanda hugged Rita, but Rita pulled away quickly. Michael stood alone, checking his phone. After the prayers, people ate and talked. I walked around quietly, listening. That's when I heard Michael talking to a stranger near the back fence. The man wore a suit and sunglasses. "The documents are ready," Michael whispered. "Just wait for my signal." The man nodded and walked away. I hid behind a tree. My heart was beating fast. What documents? What signal? I wanted to ask, but something told me to stay quiet. To watch. To wait. Because something was very wrong. 3 days after the burial, the elders came to divide the property. They spread a map on the table. My father owned 10 acres of land, 2 houses, and some savings. The head elder, Papa Okon, drew lines with a red pen. "Kenneth, as the oldest, you get the main house and 3 acres. Eric, you get 2 acres near the road. Michael, 2 acres behind the stream. Cynthia, Rita, and Amanda, you share the second house and 3 acres together." He looked at me. "You, the youngest, get the remaining land and part of the savings for school." Everyone nodded. It seemed fair. For the first time in days, we smiled at each other. Maybe we could be a family again. Maybe the fighting would stop. Papa Okon closed the meeting with a prayer. "Go in peace, children. Your father is watching." We shook hands. We even laughed a little. That night, I slept well for the first time since father died. But when morning came, everything changed. The land markers had been moved. Kenneth discovered it first. He woke up early to check his new property. When he came back, he was shaking with anger. Someone moved the boundary stones during the night. We all rushed outside. He was right. The markers that showed where his land ended and Eric's began were 5 meters away from where they should be. Eric's land now looked bigger. Kenneth grabbed Eric by the shirt. "You greedy thief. You waited until dark and moved them." Eric pushed him back. "Are you mad? Why would I do that? I was sleeping." "Liar!" Kenneth shouted. They almost fought, but Michael pulled them apart. We checked the other boundaries. More markers were moved. Cynthia's land was smaller. Amanda's was bigger. Nothing made sense. Who did this? And why? We stood there in the morning sun, confused and angry. Then Michael said, "Wait. Where is the main land document? The one Papa Okon left with us?" We searched everywhere. It was gone. I didn't trust anyone anymore. So I started watching my siblings closely. On the 4th day, I saw Cynthia leave the house early in the morning. She looked around before walking down the road. Something about the way she moved made me suspicious. I followed her quietly, keeping my distance. She walked through the village, past the market, and stopped at a small office near the junction. A sign outside said bar. Is and Associates, Legal Services. A man in a suit came out and shook her hand. They talked for a long time. I couldn't hear everything, but I heard enough. "Can you prove it?" the lawyer asked. Cynthia nodded. "Yes. I have copies." "Good. Then we can claim it all." My stomach turned cold. Claim it all? What did that mean? They shook hands again and Cynthia turned to leave. That's when she saw me. Our eyes met. Her face went pale, then hard. She walked toward me fast. "What are you doing here?" I ran. That same week, something stranger happened. The main family house, the one Kenneth inherited, had a clear boundary marked by old stones our grandfather placed years ago. Everyone knew where the house land ended. But one morning, Kenneth called us frantically. "Come and see this." When we arrived, we couldn't believe our eyes. The boundary stones were in different places. The house land now stretched further into what used to be village path. "This is impossible," Rita whispered. "These stones are heavy. They've been here for 30 years. But they had moved. Not by centimeters. By meters." The villagers gathered to see. Old women shook their heads. "This land is cursed," one of them said. "Your father disturbed something he should not have." People began to whisper. Some said our father made a deal with dark powers. Others said the land was angry. Kenneth hired men to move the stones back, but the next morning, they had shifted again. Nobody would walk on the land anymore. They were afraid. Rita called a family meeting. Her face was serious and scared. "Someone is threatening me," she announced. "I've been getting messages telling me to leave my share of land or else." She showed us her phone. The messages were frightening. "Give up your portion or face consequences. Your father's debt must be paid. Leave before it's too late." We were shocked. "Who would do this?" Amanda asked. But something felt wrong. I watched Rita's face carefully. She was scared, yes, but she was also acting. That night, I couldn't sleep. I took Rita's phone while she was bathing. I checked the messages. My heart stopped. The threatening messages were sent from Rita's second phone. She was sending threats to herself. But why? What was she trying to do? Was she trying to look like a victim? Was she trying to make us feel sorry for her so we wouldn't suspect her of something else? I put the phone back, confused and afraid. Who could I trust? I went to see Papa Okon, the eldest man in the village. He knew my father well. Maybe he could help me understand what was happening. I found him sitting outside his house, carving wood. Papa, I need to ask you something about my father. He looked at me with old, tired eyes. Sit, my child. I sat and told him everything. The moved stones, the missing documents, the fighting, the strange messages. He listened quietly, then put down his carving knife. Your father, he said slowly, owed a debt. What kind of debt? I asked. Was it money? Papa Okon shook his head. No. Something bigger. Something heavier than money. What was it, Papa? Please tell me. He looked away, toward the setting sun. I cannot say. It is not my story to tell. But know this, that land your father left you carries a burden. Until the truth comes out, your family will tear itself apart. What truth, Papa? He stood up. That is all I can say. He walked into his house and closed the door. I sat there alone as darkness fell. I decided to travel to the city. My father used to work there before he retired to the village. Maybe someone there knew something. I took a bus early in the morning. The city was big and loud and confusing. I asked people where the land registry office was. Finally, I found it. A tired woman sat behind a desk covered with papers. I need information about land in my village, I said. She sighed. Name of the landowner. Mr. Namdi Okafor. My father. She typed on her computer, then frowned. This is strange. What is it? Your father's name is here, but there's another name too. Co-ownership. My hands went cold. Co-ownership. With who? She turned the screen toward me. Another name was listed, Mr. Chukwudinoji. Who is that? I asked. The woman shrugged. I don't know, but according to this, both men own that land together. 50-50. Is this person still alive? She checked another file. Yes. He lives in the city. She gave me an address. I left that office with my head spinning. My father never mentioned a partner. When I returned to the village, Amanda called another meeting. I think we should make peace, she said sweetly. We are family. We shouldn't fight. Everyone looked surprised. Amanda had been one of the coders during the arguments. I suggest we sit down, talk calmly, and agree to keep Papa Okon's original division. No more fighting. Kenneth and Eric looked at each other. That sounds good, Michael said. Even Cynthia nodded. We agreed to meet the next day at the family house. I wanted to believe Amanda. I wanted to believe we could fix this. But something felt wrong. The next day, we all came. Amanda smiled and served us drinks. We talked. We apologized. We even laughed a little. I began to feel hopeful. Then I noticed Amanda's phone on the table. The red light was on. She was recording everything. Every word we said. Every confession. Every agreement. I said nothing. I just watched. And I knew Amanda was playing a game none of us understood yet. 1 week later, a document appeared. Someone slid it under Kenneth's door at night. It was a land deed, signed by our father, giving Kenneth only 1 acre instead of 3. The signature looked exactly like our father's handwriting. Perfect curves, perfect pressure. Kenneth brought it to the family meeting. This is fake. I know it is. But the signature was too perfect. Even the elders couldn't tell if it was real or forged. If someone forged this, Eric said, they practiced father's signature many times. They studied it. We all went quiet. Who among us would do that? Who had the skill? Then I remembered something. When we were young, Cynthia used to copy father's signature for school notes when he was too busy to sign. She was so good at it that even mother couldn't tell the difference. Father found out and scolded her, but she just laughed. Now I looked at Cynthia. Her face was calm. Too calm. Who taught you to forge? Kenneth asked, staring at everyone. Nobody answered. Michael broke down that evening. We found him sitting under the mango tree where father used to sit, crying like a child. I can't do this anymore, he sobbed. We gathered around him. Michael, what's wrong? Amanda asked. He looked up, his eyes red and swollen. Someone is blackmailing me. We stared at him in shock. What do you mean? Kenneth demanded. Michael wiped his face. 3 weeks ago, someone sent me photos. Photos of me doing something I shouldn't have done. Something illegal. They said if I don't cooperate, they'll send the photos to the police. Cooperate how? I asked. They want me to support their claim to the land. They want me to lie about what father said before he died. Who is blackmailing you? Eric asked. Michael shook his head, trembling. I don't know. They send messages from different numbers. They wear masks when we meet. You've met them? He nodded. Twice. But I don't know who they are. Michael, you must tell us everything, Kenneth insisted. But Michael stood up and walked away. I can't. If I do, I'll go to jail. The next morning, something appeared on the land that shook the entire village. Behind the main house, near the old palm trees, there was now a shrine. Small stones arranged in a circle, with a clay pot in the middle, surrounded by dried leaves and feathers. None of us put it there. The villagers gathered, whispering fearfully. This is ancestral ground, an old woman said. Someone disturbed it. Papa Okon came to look. His face went pale. This shrine, he said quietly, is older than your father. Older than his father too. What does that mean? Rita asked, her voice shaking. It means this land was sacred before your family owned it. Someone made a promise here long ago. What kind of promise? Papa Okon touched the clay pot carefully. A promise that was never fulfilled. That night, no one slept. We heard sounds. Footsteps around the house. Whispers in the wind. Cynthia claimed she saw a shadow standing near the shrine. Kenneth said he heard our father's voice calling his name. We huddled together in the main house, afraid. At dawn, we checked the shrine again. Someone had placed fresh flowers there. But none of us did it. 2 days later, a woman arrived from the city. She came in a taxi, carrying a small bag and a folder. She was about 40 years old, well-dressed, with sharp eyes. She asked for our house and the village children showed her the way. We were all there when she knocked. Kenneth opened the door. Can we help you? The woman looked at all of us, one by one. My name is Ngozi Noji, she said. I am here about the land. Kenneth frowned. What about it? She opened her folder and pulled out old papers. My father was Chukudi Noji. He and your father bought this land together 40 years ago. 50-50 partnership. We stood frozen. That's impossible, Eric said. Our father never mentioned a partner. Ngozi smiled sadly. Because your father cheated mine. He pushed my father out and took everything. My father died poor and angry. Now I've come to claim what belongs to my family. She placed the document on the table. I want half of this land. And I have the papers to prove it. We spent days checking Ngozi's documents. She had agreements, receipts, letters between our father and hers. Everything looked real. Papa Okon examined them with the village scribe. "These papers are old," the scribe said. "And they appear genuine." Kenneth was furious. "Even if this is true, why come now? Why wait until our father is dead?" Ngozi looked at him coldly. "Because your father threatened mine. He said if we ever came back, he would destroy us. My father was afraid. But I am not." Then she showed us something that made our blood run cold. A final agreement, signed by both fathers. It said, "This land will belong to both families. But if either family becomes divided by greed, the land must be returned to its original owner." "Who is the original owner?" I asked. Ngozi pointed to a name at the bottom of the page. It was a name none of us recognized. "This person's grandchildren still live 3 villages away," Ngozi said. "And they are waiting." We looked at each other. We had been fighting over land that might not even belong to us. That night, Papa Okon finally told us the full truth. We gathered in his house, and he lit a lamp. "Your father made a promise," he began. "When he and Chukwudi bought that land, they bought it from a family whose father had just died. That family was desperate for money, so they sold the land cheaply. But there was a condition." "What condition?" Amanda asked. Papa Okon's voice was heavy. "The seller's father placed a curse before he died. He said, whoever owns this land must keep their family united. If greed enters their hearts, if brothers and sisters fight over property, the land will bring them only suffering." We sat in silence. "Your father knew this," Papa Okon continued. "That's why he tried to tell you before he died. He wanted to warn you. But death came too fast." "So the curse is real?" Rita whispered. "It's not about magic," Papa Okon said. "It's about truth. Greed destroys families. That is the real curse." "But someone has already broken the rule," I said. "We've been fighting since father died." Papa Okon nodded sadly. "Yes. And until you speak the truth to each other, the suffering will continue." The next day, everything exploded. Kenneth found proof that Amanda had been manipulating all of us. He found her phone, the one she used for recording. But it had more than just recordings. It had messages. Messages to the lawyer Cynthia visited. Messages to the stranger Michael met at the burial. Messages to Ngozi Noji. Amanda had been talking to everyone. She had been feeding them information, pushing them to fight, creating chaos. Kenneth dragged her to the family meeting. "You did this. You turned us against each other." Amanda didn't deny it. She just smiled. "Yes, I did. Because I deserve more than what father gave me. I'm tired of being treated like nothing. You destroyed our family for money." Cynthia shouted. "Our family was already broken," Amanda said. "I just made it obvious." But then Ngozi spoke up. "Amanda came to me 6 months ago. Before your father even died. She told me about the land. She gave me the documents I needed." We all turned to Ngozi. "You planned this together?" Ngozi shook her head. "No. Amanda is not the mastermind. Someone else is pulling the strings. Someone gave Amanda the information first." Eric stood up slowly. His face was gray, like he was sick. "It was me," he said quietly. "I moved the land markers first." Kenneth jumped up. "What?" Eric nodded. "The night after the elders divided the property, I went out and moved the markers. I wanted more land. I thought no one would notice." "You caused all this?" Rita screamed. "Wait," Eric said. "I didn't do it because I wanted to. Someone threatened me." "Threatened you how?" I asked. Eric sat down, shaking. "A month before father died, a man came to me. He knew things about me. Secret things. Bad things I did in the city. He said if I didn't do what he asked, he would expose me. What did he ask you to do? Eric looked down. He told me to create confusion after father died. To move the markers, to make everyone suspicious of each other. He said it would help him get the land. Who was this man? Kenneth demanded. Eric shook his head. I never saw his face clearly. He always met me at night, in dark places. But someone hired him, I said. Someone planned this whole thing from the beginning. We all looked at each other. Who could it be? Ngozi took a deep breath. We could see she was struggling with something. Finally, she spoke. I am not just Chukwudi Noji's daughter, she said. I am also your father's daughter. The room went completely silent. What? Kenneth whispered. Ngozi's eyes filled with tears. Your father and my mother had a relationship before he married your mother. I was born from that relationship. My mother married Chukwudi later, and he raised me as his own. But I always knew the truth. She pulled out a birth certificate. It showed our father's name. Your father sent money to my mother for years. He loved me. But he couldn't claim me publicly because it would shame both families. When he partnered with the man I called father, it was his way of making sure I had an inheritance. We were in shock. So you're our sister? Cynthia asked. Ngozi nodded. Half-sister. And I have legal proof. DNA tests, letters, everything. She placed more documents on the table. I didn't come to steal. I came to claim what your father wanted me to have. Half the land was always meant for me. The elders called a final meeting. Papa Okon, 3 other village elders, and the scribe all came. They had studied all the documents, heard all the confessions, and prayed for wisdom. We have made a decision, Papa Okon announced. This land will be divided into 3 portions. 1 portion for Namdi's children by marriage. 1 portion for Ngozi, his daughter by blood. And 1 portion would be returned to the original family, as the agreement required. Kenneth stood up angrily. That's not fair. We are his legitimate children. Sit down, Papa Okon said firmly. Your father created this confusion. We are simply cleaning it up. The meeting was set for the next Saturday. All parties would gather, the new boundaries would be marked, and documents would be signed. But that night, I overheard Amanda on the phone. They are giving us less than we deserve, she whispered. We can't let that happen. What are you going to do? A voice asked. Amanda smiled in the darkness. I'm going to make sure there's nothing left to divide. Fire. The scream woke us all at midnight. The family house was burning. Flames shot from the roof, bright and angry against the dark sky. We ran out in our night clothes, coughing and shouting. Kenneth grabbed buckets. Eric called for help. Villagers came running with water. But the fire was spreading fast. The documents. Michael shouted. All the land papers are inside. Everything we needed for the final meeting was in that house. Birth certificates, agreements, boundaries, everything. If they burned, we would have nothing to prove who we were or what we owned. I saw Amanda standing far from the fire, watching with strange eyes. Nobody else noticed, but I did. Then I did something crazy. I covered my face with a wet cloth and ran into the burning house. I heard my siblings screaming my name, but I didn't stop. Smoke filled my lungs. Heat burned my skin. I found the metal box where father kept important papers. It was hot, but I grabbed it. I ran back out just as part of the roof collapsed behind me. I fell on the ground, coughing. Kenneth pulled me away. The house burned completely. But the documents were saved. When we opened the metal box, we found something we never expected. Under all the land documents was a letter. In father's handwriting. Dated 1 week before he died. My children, it began. If you are reading this, it means I am gone and you are fighting. I am sorry. I should have told you the truth while I was alive, but I was a coward. The letter explained everything. How he met Ngozi's mother. How he made her pregnant. How he partnered with Chokudi to secretly support his outside child. How he cheated Chokudi later because he needed more money for both families. How the guilt ate him every day. I wanted to protect you, he wrote. I thought if I kept everything secret, you would never know the pain I caused. But secrets don't protect. They poison. The land I'm leaving you is cursed, not by spirits, but by lies. I lied to your mother. I lied to Chokudi. I lied to Ngozi. I lied to the original landowners by pretending to follow their conditions while planning to break them. Every acre you inherit carries my deception. If you want peace, you must give back what was taken. Surrender the land. Start fresh. Build your lives on truth, not on stolen ground. We sat together for hours after reading that letter. No one spoke at first. We just stared at the ashes of our family house and thought about father's words. Finally, Kenneth broke the silence. He's right. This land has brought us nothing but pain. Eric nodded. Since father died, we've lost everything that matters. We don't talk anymore. We don't trust each other. We've become enemies. What should we do? Rita asked. I spoke up. We should follow father's instructions. Give the land back to the original owners. Split whatever money is left equally among all of us, including Ngozi. And start over. Michael agreed. I'm tired of fighting. I just want my family back. But Amanda stood up. Are you all crazy? Give up everything. After all this. It's not ours to keep, Cynthia said quietly. It never was. Amanda looked at each of us. So you're just going to surrender? Walk away with nothing. We'll walk away with each other, I said. That's not nothing. Amanda shook her head. I can't do it. I won't. She picked up her bag and walked away into the darkness. We called her name, but she didn't turn back. 3 months later, we stood on that same land for the last time. The original owners, an elderly couple and their grown children, received the property back. They thanked us and promised to pray for our family. Ngozi hugged each of us. I never wanted to destroy you, she said. I just wanted to belong. You're our sister, Kenneth said. You always did. We split the small amount of money father had saved. It wasn't much, but it was clean. No lies attached to it. Some of us moved to the city. Some stayed in the village. We started small businesses, went back to school, found simple work. Life became harder in some ways, but lighter in others. Amanda never came back. We heard she moved far away, still angry, still bitter. We prayed for her. Sometimes I visit father's grave. I sit there and think about everything that happened. How property almost destroyed us. How truth saved us. How we learned, too late, that the greatest inheritance is not land or money, but love and honesty. If only we had remembered that from the beginning. If only we had loved each other first, before we loved what father left behind. Because in the end, blood is heavier than land. And family, true family, is the only thing worth fighting for. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next heartfelt story coming your way.